you want to start with injuries then, Brendan? How is everyone ahead of this weekend?
Daisan will be out. He felt his hamstring a little bit at the towards the end of the last game against Motherwell. He went away internationally to see if it would get better, but he obviously didn't play when he was away. So he will miss this weekend, and we'll assess it after that. Paolo's been ill, so we'll see how he recovers the next 24 hours. Apart from that, everyone okay.
Alice Johnson?
Yes, Ali's back in training, which is great news for us, and hopefully all been well. Finalise the squad tomorrow, but hopefully he's good to go.
How do you assess the start to the season, Brendan? Probably that the start of the season is now over. This really starting to get into it. How do you assess what you've done so far, and what needs to improve for you over the coming months?
Well, I think it's always a challenge, the European aspect of everything, and there was a lot obviously made of the past and what has happened, but really it's addressing now the future going forward. We've been showed glimpses of our game in a lot of our domestic games, but just need to find a more consistent level, and of course that's something that we and something I'm really looking forward to doing. The players here, they're working very, very hard. We had a really good victory in the last game against a good team that were unbeaten in the league so far. So we knew we had to really work for that, and we showed our spirit and our quality by the end of that game. So we want to continue on that vein. Now the focus is very much on the 7 games in 21 days, and that's my only focus.
What do you expect from Dundee? It can be a difficult trip up to Dens.
Yeah, always our record there is very, very good as a club over numbers of years, but it still doesn't make it an easy place to go. I think Stephen will have them really well organised. He'll have them competitive. They've shown already this season that they can get good results and performances. So we know coming back after the international game, we need to get our fluency and get our tempo into the game as quickly as we can, and look to make it really difficult for them, hopefully.
Brendan, I don't know if you're aware, but the kind of fans group, the Celtic Fans Collective, have put out another statement today, no more penny to the club. Is there a concern that the divide between the supporters and the club is getting deeper?
Well, one, I haven't seen that, but two, I would say, listen, the Celtic supporters are at the heart of this club. That is what Celtic is synonymous with, and hopefully going forward, we can find that balance that allows that great support to spill onto the field, and obviously we have that harmony on throughout the club. So, but until then, I'm sure both parties will continue discussing. In the meantime, it's really about affecting what we can, and that's on the pitch.
And just on that, do you think it can have any impact on the team in any way?
Well, we have to control that, or try and influence that as much as we possibly can. I think, on a day-to-day basis up here, out on the training field, of course, it doesn't. Our focus is very much on training, developing, preparing the team, and then obviously bringing that out onto the match day, and then from that we get the great support, and they can hopefully push the team, and that's all you can hope for.
Brendan, do you always feel that yourself and the team can be caught between the two, because you can see both sides of the debate almost? You see what the fans want, and you can also see what the board might be getting at, and where they come from as well. Do you feel that sometimes you and the team can be stuck between the middle?
No, I just think that I can really only affect going forward and affect the future of the team, and influence as best you can. You can't control everything in terms of as a manager, but you can certainly influence, and the biggest influence is for the players and the training and the team, and that's what we have to focus on.
In terms of the meeting, Brendan, that took place last week between some figures from the club's board and fan representatives, as manager, were you given any feedback to what was discussed, or do you try and separate yourself from that as much as you can?
No, I get to understand and get to hear a little bit, but of course that remains closed. You know what we'll speak about.
How difficult is it, Brendan, and how frustrating is it when you've still got all these kind of things bubbling in the background? You look at the moment that you guys had in the last game where there was a real togetherness when that last minute winner goes in. You really think that's getting put to the back burner, and then the international break it starts to bubble up again.
Yeah, like I said, I think that with my experience, you tend to try to focus on what you actually can do. I think if you go too deep into it, and of course we want the synergy throughout the whole club. That's what we all want. We all want what's best for Celtic. So, but like I say, control what you can, and which is the football element, and look to do that on the pitch and on the training pitch every single day, and that's really where my focus is. I try to not get too involved. Of course I'm involved. I love Celtic. I love managing Celtic. I want Celtic to be the very best every single season. So of course there's a focus there on the general health of the club. But like I said, it's for me to focus on the performance level of the team, and that won't that won't be clouded at all. I need to make sure that we perform and we make results.
Still a while before the transfer window opens again. You're linked with Bobby Clark. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
I see that it's one that's come from a long way out, that one, but I wouldn't normally say anything on anything, but it's I really don't know where that has come from at all, especially in October. So yeah, that's I'm really not sure where that's come from.
Is it in like what happened at the last window, Brendan? Is there a real urgency when you're doing business? If you do business, it's early doors come January.
Yeah, listen, for the overall health of the club, like I say, it's not just about one window.
Yeah.
You know, the club is about progressing each time you go through each window. That's the whole idea. And obviously, when January comes, the squad, if it needs strengthening, then that's what hopefully can be done. But we're quite away from that yet. So if you can just park that for a few more weeks, then we can focus on the football here now.
You mentioned the 7 games in 21 days. Does this feel at the start of a kind of intensive spell for the club?
I think it's a really exciting spell for the club. I think that that early part of the season where sometimes you are playing one game a week, and obviously we've had some of the European games as well, but I think when you come into this period, and then especially after the break in November, you're really starting to get into the thick of it then. So but there's no doubt this period now between now and the next break is some big games in there, some really important games, but it's for us to really embrace and really take on the challenge, and let's just do it.
It's exciting 7 days as well, big game next Sunday. It's going somewhere like Dens Park on Sunday. Does that put extra pressure on you, somewhere where you haven't lost for so long, as you mentioned earlier? I think it's 1988 since Celtic last lost there. Yeah,
well, I haven't really thought of it. I didn't know the date, but I now know. So it never comes into the consideration, really. I think that we go into the games. I've always enjoyed going to there. It's a nice big open pitch, and we always get a great support there. So yeah, we know it'll be a difficult game. Stephen will ensure that. You know, he'll have his team really, really well organised. They'll work very hard, but the onus will be on us to bring our game to hopefully make the result.
How have you found the sort of new setup with international breaks, Brendan? I mean, obviously you've got these 7 games now, you try and get a bit of rhythm up, but it's been quite difficult to do that when you've had these.
Yeah, I think the preference would have been ideally was that you'd lose one of these and put them in, whether you had a break in January would have been the ideal scenario. So yeah, it is that little bit challenging for, of course, to find that rhythm. But there's still enough games in there, and we all know it's there before the start of the season. We all know, and you just want to make sure that you can find your performance level whilst you're playing and get to the next international break in a good place.
Brendan, I think this is the first time we've had a chance to speak to you since Russell Martin unfortunately lost his job at Rangers. What was your reaction to the news? Were you surprised that he was given such a short period of time, albeit there was obviously fans protesting?
Well, I think you're always disappointed when any manager loses his job, and Russell being no different. It was a challenge that he learned from in his career. He's got many more years left as a coach and a manager, and I've always said when you manage here at Celtic or Rangers, the pressure is it really is relentless, and you find out things about yourself in this role, in this job, and I'm sure he will have done that. So, but yeah, I wish him all the best, and he'll probably have a bit of time out, and then look to go again and use this experience.
So your interview this morning, you said a job in the Premier League sometimes can feel like a holiday compared to up here. Is that sometimes underestimated? You saw the kind of toll that it took on us aside these jobs.
Yeah, I think it's something that, especially probably more so for people, if you're down south and without knowing the level and the intensity and the sheer size of the clubs up here, and especially as we say, Celtic Rangers, they're huge clubs, and I've always said that this job here is right up there in terms of pressure, from managing it in different clubs in the Premier League at different times, a promoted club, a mid-table club, and a top club. Celtic is right up there at the very top in terms of pressure and resilience needed. So yeah, it is a challenge for every manager, especially coming into Celtic and Rangers, and you only hope that you can meet that pressure and deal with that and somehow succeed.
Brendan, just wondering if I could ask you about, it looks like Kevin Muscat is going to be appointed at Rangers. He spent most of his career in Asia and in Australia. Is he someone that you've ever come across in your career? And also, when your rivals appoint a new manager, is it like a challenge you welcome, or do you not pay too much heed to it?
I think every team that changes manager, you always, you accept and take on the challenge of new ideas and that freshness that they may bring. Yeah, Kevin, I came across. I don't know Kevin that well, but I came across him a few times when I was at Liverpool. He came in to train him when I was manager at Liverpool, and spent some time with him there. And then, of course, when we travelled then over to Australia with Liverpool and met him in Ange when I was there. So yeah, as I said, I don't know him that well, but he's done a really good job in the teams that he's been at in Asia, and if he's to be the new manager coming in, then it's another new challenge, and as I said, for us, we'll be ready for it.